The spirit places for scene 1. That's Andrew, Anthony, Angela, Michaela, and Sam. And then nuns, you're standing by for scene 2. Thank you. This way, guys.
Where is Blanche?
My word, you startled me. Why the devil don't you think of going first to the maids instead of bursting in without a warning like a fool?
I'm sorry if I offended you.
There's no harm in being somewhat brusque at your time of life, just as it's natural at mine to be calm and a little mellow. The unexpected visit of your uncle deprived me of my midday nap, so I was trying to relax a little while, or maybe dozing. But why do you want your sister?
Roger de Lamas was on his way. Soon enough he saw that he must turn back, or he would have found himself stopped by a mob of infuriated peasants. I have heard that they will burn the effigy of Rene on the front of his palace.
Indeed, let them burn it. When wine is plentiful and cheap, you may well expect that spring will turn their heads and cause a bit of trouble. Never fear, it will pass.
If I dared in your presence to permit myself to express my dissent, I would suggest that your prophecy may not turn out too accurate, insofar as it concerns my sister's courage. Damas himself saw the carriage surrounded below the road near Busy.
What of the crowd, the carriage? If you must know, these are the visions that so often haunt my troubled dreams at night. I hear a lot of talk of rebellion, sometimes even revolution. But if you've never watched the crowd in fear, you don't know what fear can be. Those frightened faces with their features contorted, thousands and thousands of eyes. How well I recall the wedding of the young Dauphin. Everyone was watching the fireworks. Suddenly some rockets caught on fire and exploded. There you had the panic that can drive a crowd to frenzy. Your mother quickly locked the door of a carriage. The coachman turned, lashed the horses onward in fury. Now the mob surrounds the carriage. See, at once the window is smashed. Just in time the soldiers arrived, valiantly came to our rescue. It was later that night, in the stillness of this house, that your dear mother died after giving birth to Blanche. Monsieur, you must forgive me,
for I should have known better. Once again I fear that I spoke like an utter fool.
Look at me getting all excited, exactly like you. But my carriage is sturdy, my good old horses are never afraid. Antoine has been with us 20 years. I can assure you that your dear sister will come to no harm.
Oh, it is not her safety that worries me, but as you know, Blanche is high strong and inclined to be morbid.
Blanche is only sensitive and somewhat intense. A happy marriage is really all she needs. Oh, come, you know, any pretty girl has the right to be just a wee bit nervous. Be patient. You will yet have a nephew as wild as 20,000 devils.
Mark my word, more than fear endangers my sister's health. Perhaps even her life. It is not fear alone that makes her suffer. Deep within, she's very ill.
My, but you sound exactly like a superstitious fool. Blanche, often enough, seems to be cheerful and natural. Sometimes she's even quite jolly.
Oh, I'm certain there are times, I must admit, when she fools even me. I'd be inclined to think she was well if I didn't see the signs of illness so deep within her eyes.
Soon enough, when Blanche and her companion have come to tell us they've returned, you will laugh at all your misgivings, and she'll forget her own. Blanche, your brother was terribly impatient for your return.
My brother is too kind to his dear little rabbit.
You should not repeat at every turn a secret nickname that makes sense to no one else.
I assure you that lambs are not accustomed to spend any time away from home. It is true that I should have felt at home in my carriage, but just a fragile window separating frightened little me from those people seemed to be, at the time, I can assure you, hardly very adequate protection. I must really have looked so very foolish.
Monsieur de Ramas, who saw you there at the crossroad near Bissy, told us with pride how you sat by your window, looking perfectly calm and courageous.
Monsieur de Damas, without any doubt, saw only what he wished. Then you believed that I was calm and courageous. Good Lord, one jumps into danger just the same as into the ocean. First it knocks the breath from your body, then it becomes most refreshing after you've gone in up to your neck. This morning at the convent, the service was extremely long. I'm afraid it left me completely exhausted. That is the reason, no doubt, for all of my nonsense. And now, with your permission, Father, I will go to my room for a while and rest before dinner. My, isn't it darker than usual tonight.
I really believe that a storm is approaching.
If you really mean to go to your apartment, please ask the chambermaid for some candles. You should not remain there all alone. I know the shadows of the evening make you uneasy and despondent. When you are little, how often you would tell me I die every night only to be born again next morning.
Yet we all know there's been only a single day of resurrection, that of Easter. But every night of one's life is like the night of the agony of Christ.
Her fantasy is always in flight from one extreme to another. What did she mean by that remark?
I hardly think it matters. It is her look and her voice that pierce my heart. I wonder if the horses have been fed. I will go at once and question old Antoine.
Is it you, Thierry? What is going on? What is wrong?
Hardly were the candles lit when Mademoiselle Blanche came upstairs and entered the room. I think she was frightened when she saw my shadow on the wall. I just had drawn all the curtains.
My dear, I'm very glad to see it was nothing.
Oh, monsieur, you've been indulgent all my life, such a kind and loving father.
This little incident can now be forgotten.
Dear father, there is nothing so small or unimportant that does not bear the signature of God, just as all the immensity of Him in one small drop of water. If you will grant me your permission, it is my wish to join the convent of Carmel. I think this desire surprises you far less than you would care to admit at this moment.
Alas, one never should trust when it concerns a young woman who is quite as virtuous as my daughter. Any step taken in a moment of fervor. If you weren't so proud, you would not be so disturbed by a cry. One should not renounce the world because of spite.
Bear the world no special hatred. For me the world is very strange, like an alien place in which I cannot live. Yes, dear father, I am quite unable to bear the noise, the breathless pace, the fearful strain. If my nerves were only spared the attempt, then you would see how much I could accomplish.
My beloved child, if this is so, only your conscience can decide whether this attempt is more than your strength can endure.
Dearest father, let us end this game let me hope I shall find some cure for the fear and the torment that's making my life so unhappy. If I could not believe that our Lord is guiding my life and fate, I would die of shame right here at your feet. It's not unlikely that you're entirely right when you say my attempt was not carried to the end. God will hardly hold it against me. I give my life to him. I abandon all. I renounce it all. Restore me to grace. She can never return. Oh, my poor child, it is habit alone that
absent from life. I see the formidable rules of our order do not seem to frighten you.
They attract me.
Ah, yes, your heart is generous and noble. What has drawn you to us?
Your reverence commands that I should answer with absolute frankness.
Yes!
Very well, the quest for a life that's heroic.
The quest for a life that's heroic, or for a certain manner of living, which you believe quite wrongly, would make it easier for you to be heroic, would put it, so to speak, in the palm of your hand.
My most reverend mother, I can assure you, I have never harbored such desires.
The most dangerous of our desires are those we are fond of calling our illusions.
It may well be I have illusions. If that is so, I should be deprived of them forever.
Deprived of them you shall be. There is one more thing I feel that you should know, my daughter. Everyone here is extremely concerned with her personal illusions. My daughter, all thoughtful people must ask themselves, what purpose do we serve? And I will say that when they ask this question, they're fully justified. No, my daughter, never was the purpose of our order to mortify the flesh, nor do we aim to safeguard human virtue. We're nothing but a house of prayer. Prayer provides the only valid reason for our existence. Whoever doubts the force of prayer looks on us as parasites and must regard us as rank impostors. If faith in God Almighty is universal, should not the same be true of faith in gentle prayer? And so each and every prayer, even that of a little shepherd who tends his flock, is really the prayer of all the world. And what the little shepherd does from time to time with innocent and trembling heart, all of us must do day and night. Oh, my child, our order does not lean towards tenderness and pity. But I am old and ailing. I am now approaching the end. I can allow myself to pity you. The trials that await you are not easy, my daughter.
Why fear them if God will grant me the strength?
The thing that God desires to test is certainly not your strength, but your weakness. You are crying.
I for sorrow, but for joy. Though your words are so harsh, yet I feel that even if they were harsher, they could never break the power that draws me to you. I shall find no other refuge but this.
But our order cannot be a refuge. Do not think the order can protect us, my daughter. It is we who must protect the order. Would you care to tell me whether you, by some strange intuition, have made a choice in the name that you desire, in case we admit you as a novice to our order? I am sure you already have considered this.
I have, my mother. I should like the namesake Blanche of the agony of Christ.
Go in peace, my daughter.
Again, I'm so tired of rentals. They say the merchants in the town are hoarding all the grain, and that in Paris there is no bread. Look! Why, here's the iron we had thought was lost. We looked everywhere, but without success. Look and see how the handle has been covered up with flannel. No more will we hear our sister Jean of the Holy Child crying as she blows on her fingers. I bet you no one could press at all with this contrary iron. I bet. How I used to bite my tongue to keep myself from laughing, yet how I loved to hear it. Her I bet made me think of the country and of our good village folk in Bretagne. Sister Blanche, 7 weeks before the day I entered this life, how we enjoyed ourselves at my older brother's wedding. All the village folk were gathered together, 10 little girls to present a bouquet, while violins were playing. Then we went to mass, dined at the chateau, danced until getting from exhaustion. I danced faster and faster. I know I've never been so happy. Those simple people adored me to distraction, only for my gaiety and because I loved them in return. Aren't you ashamed to chatter on like this when you know that our Reverend Mother, Sister Blanche, if I only thought that I could save her, then would I willingly offer my poor little life, such as it is. Yes, cross my heart, I'd lay down my life. But when one is 59 or more, it's really time for one to die. You've never known the fear of death. I do not know. Well, a little, but very long ago, when I did not clearly know just what it was. And then, good heavens, dear sister, I realized suddenly that life was so amusing. I decided that death had to be the same. Do you think so
try to do as best I can whatever I am told. But I find it so very delightful. After all, who can really blame me if the service of our good Lord delights me?
Aren't you afraid that God will grow rather tired of your good humor?
Sister, if you'll excuse me, though I know we are friends, I can't help thinking that you were bent on hurting my feelings.
Indeed, you are not lying. Yes, I do envy you.
You envy me? I can't believe it. This is absolutely the very strangest thing that I have ever heard. Envy me? When it is clear that I deserve to be punished for having spoken so thoughtlessly of the death of our beloved Reverend Mother. Oh, dear sister, since I spoke the way I did before and regret it, will you be so kind as to help me to atone for my behavior? Let us kneel and pray. We will offer both of our poor little lives for that of our Reverend Mother.
That is terribly childish.
Oh, not at all, dear sister. Really, I think it's such an enchanting inspiration.
You're making fun of me.
It came to me all of a sudden. I did not think it would do any harm. I've always wanted to die very young.
Tell me, why must I listen to this nonsense?
How strange! The very first time I looked at your face, I just knew that my wish had been granted.
Tell me what you mean. Put down that ridiculous iron. Answer me at once. Do you hear?
I will. I have always known that God would be kinder than to let me grow old, and that we would die together the same day. Where or how, I assure you I've never known, and at this moment I still do not know.
What a ridiculous notion! Are you not ashamed of believing that your life could possibly redeem the life of someone else? You're filled with all the pride of the devil. You! Stop it at once!
I did not think what I said would give offense. is to raise my pillow. Do you suppose that Monsieur Javelino will allow me to be moved into the chair? I find it very painful indeed that I am seen by my children who are lying so helpless, just like someone drowning who's pulled from the water. And this when I'm still capable of thinking so clearly. Oh, it is not that I wish to deceive my daughters, but when one so painfully conscious of lacking in courage, one should at least, I think, be able to maintain one's composure. I was almost certain, my mother, that your suffering had somewhat subsided in the night. It was only a lethargy within my soul. God be deeply thanked, nonetheless, I no longer felt that I was dying. To see yourself die, that's but a phrase that people often like to use. Very well, Mother Marie, it is true, I see myself die. Nothing can take it from my sight. I am all alone and helpless, without the slightest consolation. Will you tell me quite frankly just how much time Monsieur Javelino believes that I can still endure it? He says your constitution is remarkably strong. I think he fears you will have a long and bitter struggle. But God has become a shadow. Alas, I've lived as a nun for 30 years. I've been Mother Superior for 12. I've reflected on death each day of my life, yet it doesn't seem to strengthen me at all. It seems to me that Blanche de la Force is very late. But after yesterday's lengthy discussion, does she still hold to the name that she had chosen? Yes, if it please you, she would be happy if she could be known as Sister Blanche of the Agony of Christ. You seem to be deeply moved by this choice. It was my chosen name long ago. And now the sun should recommend this child to your indulgence. Now I have decided, if God permits, this will be the last achievement of my incumbency. Mother Marie,
my most reverend mother,
in the name of obedience, I now entrust to you Blanche de la Force, and you will answer for her before God.
yes, my mother.
You will have need of character and clarity of judgment, discipline and patience. These are precisely what the child is lacking, and you possessing great abundance.
It is very true. You always see me exactly as I am.
She is here. Ask her to come in. I pray you rise, my daughter. I was hoping that we could spend a little time together at last, but the visit I had with Mother Marie left me greatly exhausted. You are the last to enter the house, and for that reason the closest to my heart. Surely of all my daughters, you are the dearest, just like a child of one's old age. Therefore needing the most protection, because the most endangered. Could I prevent that fearful danger, I would gladly give my humble life. Oh yes, how eagerly I'd yield it. But alas, I've nothing to give but my death, a very lowly death. God derives great glory from his saints, from his heroes and his martyrs, also from the poor, the meek, and the Monsieur Verino, may I hope that you have brought another dose of this medicine, for it has helped me.
I'm afraid your reverence cannot take another dose.
Superior formally says goodbye to those within her charge. Mother Marie, please try to persuade Monsieur Javelino. This silly drug or another, it's all the same. My good mother, can't you see? How can I possibly show this face to my dear little daughters?
Oh, my mother, you should hardly think of us anymore. From now on, your concern should be only with God.
At this moment, wretch that I am, to concern myself with him, let him first concern himself with me.
Your reverence is delirious. I think you had better shut the window. Maybe our mother is no longer quite responsible for the things she is saying. But I'm sure it is wiser not to scandalize all our sisters. Oh, come, Sister Anne of the Cross, you are not going to faint like a silly little girl. You should fall to your knees and pray. It will do you more good than your salts.
Mother Marie of the Incarnation! Mother Marie!
My Reverend Mother!
I saw our chapel ravaged and profaned and quite deserted. The altar desolate. There was straw and blood on the flagstones. Oh, God has forsaken us. God has renounced us.
Your reverence is beyond the stage where she is quite herself. Yet I must employ her to try to say nothing that might be.
Say nothing. Say nothing. Doesn't matter what I say. I am no command of my tongue and of my face. This clings to my skin like a mask that tempts me. Oh, if I only could tear away this mask with my nails!
Please inform your sisters they will have no time to see the Reverend Mother to
It is really an outrage. They should not be allowed to see her. Implore forgiveness, death, fear of death.
I think our Reverend Mother is asking. Our Reverend Mother was about to ask. She wanted to ask.
replacement's already in the chapel.
He did not arrive, so Sisyphus decided she would find them. And then you yielded to your fear, and... But I really meant no harm when I wandered to the door.
No, better not, my child. There's no point at all in trying again. A task left undone is really much better forgotten. You can forget it
if you please. Do not brood any more about something so trifling. Go to bed, cross yourself, Blanche, and sleep. With my permission, you are excused from all other prayers. I'm sure by tomorrow this will fill you with sorrow rather than shame. It is then you will be able to ask forgiveness of God without the risk of offending him further. Dear sister, I find that our cross is much too elaborate, for truly the little tomb of our mother is so simple.
What do you think that we should do with the flowers that remain?
I know! Let's make a bouquet for whoever is to be our new prioress.
I rather wonder if Mother Marie of the Incarnation loves flowers.
Oh, I wish
that she loves flowers.
No, dear sister, that she be chosen our new prioress.
You always believe that God will grant whatever you ask of him.
And why not? What goes by the name of chance may be nothing but the logic of God. Just think of the death of our beloved mother, dear sister. Who would ever imagine that she would have such hardship in dying? That she would ever die so badly? One would think that when he chose such a death for her, our good Lord made a great mistake. As in a cloakroom, the man gives you one coat for another. Yes, I think her death belonged to another. It was a death much too small for our mother. It was really so small that the sleeves barely reached down to her elbows.
The death of another? Tell me, what can that possibly mean, Sister Constance?
I mean that someone else will be greatly surprised when she has to die, that she finds it so simple and so easy, and that it feels so comfortable. We die not for ourselves alone, but for one another, or sometimes even instead of each other. Who knows? this would be of such importance for all of us. We have doubtless left behind us all those calm and happy days when we forget too easily. We've no assurance of a smooth and easy life, and that we are in the mighty hand of God. What the future holds in store, or what fate awaits us, I cannot say. I expect from heaven's pity nothing but those modest little blessings which I find the rich and the mighty of this earth look down upon and hold in scorn. Goodwill to all that lives, at least patience, unselfish humility. Of all the virtues, was others fate a group of truly meek and humble women? Oh, surely there are many kinds of courage, and the courage of kings and princes is not at all that of simple people. It would not enable them to survive. Many a servant will copy certain traits of his noble master, but they really will suit him no more than the finest of spices suit a simple rabbit stew. May I repeat that we are vulnerable women who have come here to pray to God. Let us beware of all the things that lure our roving hearts away from prayer. Never trust in the joy of martyrdom. Prayer is a duty. Martyrdom is a right. When the mighty king before his noble court beckons to a servant that she come and sit beside him on his golden throne, as if she were a well-beloved wife, is it not much wiser that at first she should refuse to believe her eyes amiss, and should continue as if nothing happened? I humbly beg your pardon for speaking in my accustomed manner, without the use of fancy language. Mother Marie, may I request that you now find a proper ending for this little talk. My sisters, her reverence has explained to us clearly our most important duty lies in He will see her reverend mother. Which gate is that? The one in the alley. If he's so eager to come in unobserved, then he must be one of our friends. Mother, God save him!
My mother, the man is a monsieur de la Force, who asked to see his sister Blanche before his departure from France.
Then will you send at once for Blanche de la Force? The present circumstances truly warrant her breaking the rules. May I ask that you be in the room when they met?
If only your reverence would kindly permit me.
You alone and no other.
But why do you not answer me? You have never once raised your eyes to me, and you have hardly listened. Should this be the welcome you give to your brother?
God is my witness, I've no desire to cause you the slightest sorrow.
Let me come to the point. Our father feels it isn't safe for you to stay here any longer.
Possibly there may be danger, but I feel safe, and that's enough for me.
How can you explain the sudden change in the Blanche that I knew? There is something in your voice and your manner. You're so constrained and extremely ill at ease.
If I now appear uneasy, it is only that I feel a bit embarrassed. I have not as yet grown completely accustomed to live in happiness and freedom.
Perhaps you are happy, but I doubt you are free. It is not within your power to rise above the laws of nature.
Oh, come, you surely do not believe. The life of a Carmelite conforms it all to nature.
In a time such as this, there are plenty of women who are formerly envied by all, who now believe me would change places with you gladly. If I'm speaking rather harshly, Blanche, I must, because I see before me the image of our Father all alone among his servants.
Do you really think that I am captured by fear?
Or by your fear of fear. After all, this fear's hardly nobler than any other fear. You have to run the risk of fear as you run the risk of death. And it is this that calls for courage.
From this day on, I can only be the helpless and innocent victim of the will of our Lord.
Blanche, just now when I entered this room, you looked as if you surely would collapse from exhaustion. I thought I saw, beneath the feeble glimmer of this lamp, as if it were a vision of our childhood. It is just because we felt so awkward that we arrived at such strange and bitter words that seemed to give offense. Could they have changed my little rabbit?
Oh, why must you forever fill me with doubt, as with a poison that destroys? And from this poison I almost died. It is true, the past is gone forever.
You no longer are afraid.
Where I am, nothing can harm me.
Very well. Goodbye, dear sister.
Oh, do not leave me so in bitter anger and defiance. Alas, you're so accustomed to protect me and pity me that you cannot see your way to grant me instead that respect and understanding which you would grant to the humblest of your friends.
Blanche, now it's you who are angry. Are you really so resentful?
I feel nothing but respect for you and tender affection, but I am no longer your little rabbit. I now am a daughter of Carmel, who will suffer for you, and whom I ask you most sincerely to accept once and for all as a companion in battle. For we're going into by their gentleness. Ah, will they always consider me just a child?
Come along, it is time we were going.
I was proud, and now I shall be punished for it.
There is but one way for you to conquer pride, and that is to try to rise above it. You must have courage.
My faithful daughters, I think that some among you already have heard what I'm now about to say. There are those who'd keep me from performing my duties, and the mass I've just completed here will be my last one. The house of God is empty. I partake today of the grief of our early Christian fathers. Today's a very great day for Carmel. Goodbye, I bless you all. Let us now sing together. Ave verum corpus natum ex Maria Virgine. Latus perforatum unda fluxit et sanguine. Clemens, O Jesus, Fili Mariae. Amen.
But what will become of you?
Nothing different than I am at this very moment, an outcast.
But if what I hear is true, you will be killed. If they ever find you,
They will not recognize me, so do not fear.
you're going in disguise.
Yes, these are the orders that we have just received. Sister, believe me, your imagination is far too easily excited. Yes, my dear child, you need not fear, for I'll remain not far from our house, and will return as often as I can.
And in a land of Christians, have the French now become such awful cowards? They're afraid. Everyone's afraid. They infect one another with their panic, just as they might give each other smallpox or cholera.
Perhaps you're right about fear. It's really an illness. But are there no men left in France to come to the defense of our priests?
When there are not priests enough, there are plenty of martyrs, and thus the balance of grace is very promptly restored.
I am certain the Holy Ghost revealed the truth through the mouth of a reverend mother, so that in France we may again have priests. The daughters of Carmel have only to offer their lives.
I am afraid that you did not hear me, or at least you did not understand me. It is not for us to decide if a name shall be inscribed among the names of blessed martyrs.
Someone is ringing the bell. You must go at once and take a look at the door behind the stairs.
I was very nearly caught between the crowd and all the soldiers, so I had no choice but to return to you at once.
You may stay with us, my father.
I would not wish to put you all in danger. I will have to leave you when the crowd assemble to watch the procession. They'll be gathered in front of the city hall. The street will be deserted.
Here they come. Here they come. They are here.
I have waited much too long. What will happen to you, my daughters, if they should find me here?
You better open. Why don't you open? Renounce. You better open. Why don't you open?
Do as they say, dear little daughter.
And where are all the sisters?
You'll find them over there.
It is our duty to see that they read the details of the decree of expulsion.
That depends upon no one but you.
Whereas it was decided by the Legislative Assembly in session the 17th of August, 1792. By the 1st of October next, all houses of retreat at present still occupied by the active members of religious societies and orders have to be vacated at once by the aforementioned parties and must be offered for sale with the full approval of the proper authorities.
Is there anything in this decree to which you object?
How can we possibly object when you've left us nothing at all to decide? But it really is essential that we obtain some appropriate clause, since you prohibit us from wearing the ones we have.
Good. Are you then so very eager to throw off your ridiculous garments and to be dressed the same as everybody else?
Surely you understand it is not the uniform which makes the soldier fight, no matter what we wear.
but they have truly a great need of martyrs, and this burden we are truly prepared to assume.
When there's death on every hand, to die is nothing.
To live is nothing when life is thoroughly debased and devoid of value, having no more worth than your paper money.
What you said would surely cost you very dear if you had been heard by anyone but me. Can you believe that I am like the rest of them? In the church at home, I served 2 years as sacristan. Our noble priest, I loved him like a brother. Yet I've no choice but to howl with all the wolves.
I must ask you to prove your loyalty and goodwill.
I will manage somehow to get rid of the patrol. You will be alone until the workman comes later on tonight. But beware the blacksmith named Blancard, for he is an informer.
My sisters, our reverend mother is coming to say goodbye to us all, as she must go to Paris tonight. My dear little sister Blanche, every Christmas Eve, as you well know, we would carry the infant Jesus into each cell. I trust he will bring you both hope and courage. Oh, he is so tiny and so frail.
Oh, though he is little, yet he is so strong.
The infant king is dead, and nothing left to us but the Lamb of God.
It's hardly a duty of mine, so I think it would be more appropriate in the unavoidable absence of the Reverend Mother that you yourself address the community.
My daughters, I propose that we take upon ourselves the vow of martyrdom so that we'll merit the safety and welfare of our order and our land. I'm happy to notice you accept my proposal just as reluctantly as our dear Father in heaven inspires me to make it. But if we should finally decide to offer our lives, we have no notion as to what they're actually worth.
To what will we have to bind ourselves by taking this vow? The only trouble with all these special vows is that they so often create disagreement, and they may even go against our conscience.
And that is why I've always believed that we should know and recognize the great opportunity which such a vow must surely bring us. If there should be even one of you against, it would suffice to stop me at once. I would suggest we come to a decision at once by a secret vote. At least our chaplain will listen to our answers in secret and with the seal of sacrament. Does this serve to clarify the issues that you raised, my mothers?
At least it sets our minds at rest.
It would be best if you would pass one by one behind the altar.
I wager there will be one vote against it. There was only one against. That is enough. We know who that is. Truly it was I. The Father will vouch that I have told the truth. But, now I am fully in agreement with all of you, my sisters. And would you let me? May I ask that I be permitted to take this vow? I beg of you in the name of our Lord.
I so decide. Now rejoin your companions. You'll come to the altar, 2 by 2. Come here, dear sister. Open the book of the Holy Gospel and place it here upon the chair. Let the youngest approach. Sisters Blanche and Constance, if you please.
fellow citizens, we congratulate you all on your disciplined behavior and on your public spirit. But I have to warn you now that we shall henceforth be careful to observe you all. No more living in communities, no more dealing with the enemies who oppose our dear republic, nor with priests who plot against the state, henchmen of the Pope and of tyrants. You will appear before the court today, one by one, and receive the card that will allow you to enjoy once again all the blessings of liberty under the watchful eye of the law.
Sister Geraldine, we have to warn the priest as soon as it is possible. We agreed, he and I, that he'd say once again Holy Mass for us this morning. But now it's clear as can be, this might become not so dangerous for him as well as for us. And do you not agree, Mother Marie?
I must rely upon your reverence for everything I should or shouldn't think about from now on. But if I was wrong to act the way I did, it is true the same. Once a thing is done, it's done. But is it in the spirit of our vow to act with so much caution? Each one of you will answer to God for her vow and her conscience, but I will have to answer for all of you, and I'm certainly old enough to keep all of my accounts in order. To go with you at this moment. Please, just give me time till later. Later? No, my dear child. Now, at once. If you delay it, maybe too late. Too late for what? Too late to be saved. To be saved? Do you believe that I would be safe if I returned with you? Come to us and you'll be safer by far than here. I cannot believe you in times such as these. not torment yourself, Blanche. You see the damage is repaired. But why do you cry?
Because you are so kind and gentle, but I feel ashamed of my tears. How I wish they'd leave me in peace, and would never think of me again. Why must they reproach me? Have I done them any harm? I have never sinned against God, for fear is not a sin against God. I was born in fear, I've lived in fear, I still live in fear. All the world despises a coward, so it is only right that I too should be scorned and despised. I've had this feeling since I was a child. There was only one who could keep me from talking like this. That was my father. He is dead. He died on the guillotine only a week ago. In this house that was his, I, someone worthy of him and of his name. What other role can I assume but that of a miserable servant? This morning I got slapped. Yes, slapped in the face.
The real misfortune is not that one is despised, but that one ends by despising oneself. Sister Blanche, in the agony of Christ,
My mother,
I shall now give you an address. Memorize it well. Mademoiselle Rose de Cour to You will be completely safe with her. Rose de Cour to Rusedini. I shall await you there till tomorrow night.
I will not go. I am not ready to go.
You will go. I know that you will go, my child.
Blanche, are you not done?
Is not new to us. So you surely have no more cause to be disturbed, my daughters. I have always been ready to answer for all of you, but I've not the slightest desire, as far as it involves myself, of avoiding whatever may come. You need not fear.
While your reverence is with us, we shall fear no man on earth.
Standing on the Mount of Olives, Christ himself was along a master. He knew the fear of death. And what of Sister Blanche? I really do not know any more than you, dearest little daughter.
Tell us why you seem to be so certain, Sister Constance.
Well, because, just because of a dream I have had.
The tribunal of the revolution declares that the former sisters of the Order of Carmel, who reside in Compiègne, Department of the Loise, Madeleine Lidouane, Anne Pereira, Madeleine Touré, Marianne Nizet, Marianne Picor, Marianne Brideau, Marise Brienne, Brade, Rose Grétien, Marie Dufour, Angélique Roussel, Marie-Gabrielle Trezel, Marie-Geneviève Meunier, Catherine Soron, Thérèse Soron, Elisabeth Bezolo, gathered in defiance of the law, in secret meetings, aimed against the revolution, also engage in correspondence with our enemies, spreading rumors most dangerous to freedom, whereas they constitute a body of rebels, openly seditious, who maintain within their hearts the most criminal desire and hope to see the people of France enslaved once more by tyrants, see their freedom drowned in the torrents of blood, which all their treachery and evil designs have brought about in the name of God. The tribunal of the revolution for the safety of the Republic has decided that the aforementioned women shall be condemned to death.
My daughters, I hoped with all my heart that I might save you. Yes, I would have wished that you be spared this fearful sacrifice. For ever since the day that I met you all, I truly loved you with a mother's love, and all a mother cared to say, were it even the king who desired it. as I am, you're all I possess. I am never kind of woman, a thousand earth, for no good reason. My daughters, now that we are reaching the end, I will have to place you for the very last time under strict obedience, with my maternal blessing upon you
It is done. They have been condemned.
all of them.
All of them.
God, and
It will happen late tonight, I'm told, or tomorrow. Whatever are you doing?
can I remain here when they're about to die?
Of what importance is your wish? At such a moment, God will choose or reject who him he pleases.
I took the martyrs of all.
It was God who accepted your vow. It is to him alone that you will answer, and not to your companions. And should he choose to free you from your word, then he is simply taking back what is his.
Oh God, I am dishonored. In the moment of death, their gaze will seek me in vain.
Think of only the gaze of another, on which you should fasten your own.
In secula